This is another episode of Standup Comedy, your host and MC, celebrating 40-plus years on the fringe of show business. Stories, interviews, and comedy sets from the famous and not so famous. Here's your host and MC, Scott Edwards.
Hi, and welcome to this week's show. We have a good one for you today. Later on in the show, we are featuring two very funny guys, the name of the episode. Two funny guys. Later in the show and closing the show, don't miss out from 1990, a very funny set from Bob Saget. You all know who he is. He is from Full House, America's Funniest Videos, been around in television and comedy for decades. Well, back in 1990, I got a chance to record him live on stage at Laughs Unlimited, and we have a few minutes of that set I know you'll enjoy. And then opening up the show in just a few minutes, a very funny comic out of Los Angeles. Tim Jones worked for us a lot, and this was taped in 1983, and he was a very funny guy. And I'll explain more before we get to a set. But first, I wanted to talk about comedy as a business. And this is more an opportunity to name drop and share some interesting information that I hope you, the podcast listener, finds interesting. Not so much funny, just different and interesting. So anyway, we've talked about the staff of the club. We've talked about the comics. We've talked a lot about the entertainment aspects, the art aspects of stand-up comedy. But it's also a business. And I thought I would share some information that I was able to pick out of my old booking books that may or may not be interesting, but here it goes. Going back to 1984, Dennis Miller, who you've all heard of, he's had his own TV show, been around for a long time, worked for me as a co-headliner and made $600 for a week's work. Now, keep in mind, in the comedy club business, a week's work back in those days was Tuesday through Sunday, 2 shows on Friday and Saturday. And then later in the 90s, it trimmed down to a Thursday through Sunday setup. But back in 1984, we had Dennis Miller on stage sharing the headlining spot, or he was a co-headliner, for $600. In 1985, Tom McTeague, who you may remember was a regular on Baywatch and other TV shows, done lots of television commercials, was also a featured act, that's the middle position, and worked for just $300 for the whole week. We also had Dave Coulier, who you know from Full House and a lot of voice work on cartoons. Now, he was already a bit of a celebrity, so in 1987, I paid him $2,600 for a week's work. Thought that was kind of interesting. He's a huge star and a multimillionaire now, but back then that was a lot of money for my club. In 1989, I had another comic who was an opening act. You may recognize his name, Ungayo Bilam. He is from Northern California. He's a marijuana activist. He was the host of Cannabis Planet, a TV show. And back in 1989, he was my opening act and made $175 for a whole week's work. Yes, these guys weren't making a lot of money, but that's how we got the club going. Another interesting headliner, Kevin Pollak. I'm sure you'd recognize his face, if not his name. He was in movies like A Few Good Men, Wayne's World, The Usual Suspects, and one of my favorites, The Whole Nine Yards. But Kevin Pollak was a terrific stand-up comic and impressionist, and he worked for me in 1987 for $2,300 for a week's work. Another very recognizable guy, Jeff Altman, who made 45 appearances on The Letterman Show, was already somewhat of a celebrity in the late 80s and 90s. Worked for me in 1989. He made $4,000 for a week's work. So he did pretty well, and that was a lot of money from us. But when he was doing all those Letterman spots, we occasionally, Laughs Unlimited, were mentioned by David on the show. So that was always exciting. In 1989, we had another celebrity at the time, Will Schreiner. I know you recognize that name. He's an actor and a director. He made $12,500 for a week's work. Wow. Hard to believe I could afford that. And that's $1989, so that was a lot for a week. But he was a big celebrity and packed out the club every night he was there. Another great comic who has sadly passed away, Bill Hicks was a kind of a dark, hard-smoking, hard-drinking comedian who was out of Texas. He was really unique and a great guy to work with. I paid him $2,500 for a week's work in 1990. Speaking of bizarre and strange comedy acts, have you heard of Emo Phillips? He was a huge hit in the 80s and 90s, and was very popular as a unique comic, and he made $5,000 for a week's work back in 1990. And then one last mention, I've mentioned in an earlier podcast, and we featured him in our 40th anniversary podcast show, but our very first headliner back in 1980 was George Wallace, and he made $2,000 for a short week's work back in 1980. By the way, he's considered the godfather of comedy and kind of the king of Vegas, where he had a show for over 2 decades. But back in 1990, we brought him in as the 10th anniversary headliner, and he made $7,500 for 2 nights' work. He did do 2 shows each night, but that's not bad money for 2 nights' work. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I'd just share how comedy not only is an art form, very entertaining and hopefully always funny to my listeners, but it is a business, and I was operating a nightclub / restaurant that served food and drinks and brought in entertainers to bring in the crowds. And you can see in some cases there was some huge investments made to ensure that the crowds kept coming and had a good time. So I hope you found that interesting, and not so much that the money they made or didn't make, but how the business end of it worked, and how if you were a popular star with a lot of TV or movie credits, you could really make some good money. And on this show, 2 funny guys, we're going to open things up with our first headliner, one of my favorites from the 80s and early 90s, Tim Jones. Very funny comic. He was a regular all of my clubs. He started off doing stand-up comedy in New York, ended up coming out to L.A. He did do some television, and was one of our favorite returning acts. And you might have seen him as a regular on the TV show Fresh Prince of L.A. Now, sadly, Tim passed away in 2018 of ALS, but he was a really terrific comic and a really good friend, and I know you'll enjoy his set. Ladies and gentlemen, the comedy of Tim Jones.
Oh, well, come on and shake it up. It's so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. 'Cause sometimes love don't feel like it should, so make it so good. So like what's happening? There are more people here than I thought. I only brought 1 joint. It's not going to make it, okay? Especially with this guy sitting here, you know? You do one of these. It's gone. And maybe I should straighten something out right at the top here. Because I noticed everybody's kind of looking at me. I know I look black, but I'm not, okay? I'm not. You know, I got bored one afternoon. I went by Earl Shive, okay? And, all right? No, I'm not black. I just have confused chromosomes, you know? Black, white, back and forth. You know, I should do one of those Quasar-colored TV commercials, you know? Just stand there and say, hi. My hair is blonde. My skin is fair. And my lips are thin. And if you see anything other than that on your screen, time to get a new set, pal. You see the people in Indiana. Damn, look like a coon to me. Of course, it could be Wild Kingdom or something. I don't know. Some of you out there rubbing your eyes. No, I am black, but I'm unarmed, okay? And what did we really smoke? You look black to me, you know? I'm even bilingual, you know? I can speak black English. I can say, hey, what's happening, y'all? McDonald got ribs. No bones. Or I can speak white English. I can say, hi, how you doing? Come on, let's go get some tuna casserole. Come on. But the point is, we're all people. We're all people. Same things piss us off. Attitude. You know, my car pisses me off. How come every time I get some extra money, my car knows? If I say I'm gonna give me some new clothes, a tennis racket, the car goes, I want to go to the doctor. Call the tow truck. I ain't walking, okay? Pisses me off, you know? We got common experiences. We all get pimples, you know? All get pimples at the wrong time. We gotta go on a date, gotta go on a meeting, pimples go, we want to go too. And there's never some place where you can hide them, you know? It's always like right between your eyes. You meet people and they say, hi, how you doing? Who's your friend? Do you have an invitation or what? Same thing scares us. You ever sit at home late at night watching television all by yourself? Then out of the corner of your eye, you think you see something move? Right? But you know you're alone, and a little voice in your head says, somebody's in here. And the curtain moves, and the lamp looks pissed off, you know what I mean? That's when I go right into the kitchen, get a big glass of milk, some cookies, and a butcher knife, you know? Come out of the kitchen talking trash. Yeah, who's ever in here? I got a butcher knife. And out of the darkness you hear, I got a 38. It gets crazy. Ever go over a friend's house and use the bathroom? How many people have friends? Let's start with Dave. Never go over a friend's house, use the bathroom, and then suddenly find out, uh-oh, no toilet paper. Then you start wondering about towels and curtains, right? Fuck it, I don't live here, you know? How are they gonna know it was me, you know? It's crazy. And you know what I found out today? There's a big brouhaha going on in the burger world. Apparently the Burger King was caught nibbling Ronald's McNuggets. And when they asked him why, he said, well, Wendy wasn't as hot and juicy as she said she was. And we're on a roll. I love it. Some of you are laughing, some of you are staring like you're at home watching television. Can we go now? Because I'm from New York City. I'm from New York, where it's happens. You know, you see cats on the street trying to sell. Are you from New York over here? Really, what part? Brooklyn. Where in Brooklyn? I used to live there. 29th Street. New York. East 29th Street. Yeah, I used to steal and pillage a lot in that area. Yeah. Well, your TV's working fine. Don't worry about it. I need to get that remote control. When won't you be home, you know? I'm from New York. You know, New York is a trip. There's cats on the street trying to say something, you know? Yo, brother, yo, man, yeah. This is your lucky day, man. Yeah, I got 10-pound bags of Colombian. 10-pound bags. $2. Okay, sounds like a good deal to me. You know, the kind of attitude. What do I have in the glass? It's like liquid Tylenol. You want some?
I'm trying to quit myself.
You're trying to quit. Okay. Does that mean something? I'm not sure. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I don't know what that meant. But it made me feel good. And I was in a park today. I was in a park, I was watching the squirrels. Squirrels trip me out because they just space out. The park, you know, they got squirrels, they just sit there and they look like and think things like, wow, I wish I had a car. Then I could go shopping, you know? And you try to catch a squirrel, first thing they do is leap for a tree, you know? It's like, and they look at you and say, don't waste my time, okay, pal? You better be Dr. J, all right, man? Strange attitude. But in New York, you know, the nuts are. You see them on the streets just rocking for no reason, just bouncing back and forth. And then you try to talk to him. You're like, what's your name, brother? My name? Pigeon. And you look in his eyes, you see a sign that says vacancy, you know? 1 bedroom, unfurnished. And then you see him sitting on a curb talking to a Chrysler. You know what? I'm from Detroit, too.
Well, that was a little stand-up comedy from Tim Jones, live on stage at Laughs Unlimited in the 1983. So we went back a few years for that. But you can see he was a really funny guy, and we were really sad to hear of his passing. But we hope you enjoyed the comedy, and it got you into the right mood for this next entertainer. I got to tell you, Laughs Unlimited was a struggle to get going, but it only survived and really succeeded because of good comedy friends like this next gentleman, Bob Saget. Bob was not only a terrific headliner already at the time, but he took the time to sit down with me and help me map out the operations of the club so that it would succeed. He also introduced me to many famous and not so famous entertainers that were really good stand-up comics, and I was able to bring into the club and help build its reputation. Now, you guys all know Bob Saget. He was in Full House. He was also the host of America's Funniest Videos when it first started. And recently, he's the star of Fuller House. But you know him as just a famous stand-up comic. He also was in the movie The Aristocats, which is really funny because it was a movie about this one joke. And it was a series of comics trying to see who could make it the filthiest joke. And Bob Saget won that. And if you watch the movie, you'll see why. Very, very funny guy. But as I mentioned, a very good friend of the club. In fact, in 1980, when I was just getting started, he worked with me and starred in a couple TV commercials that we were able to air and help promote the club in 1980, 1981. So we were really lucky to have made friends with Mr. Saget. Besides all that, he's a terrific comic. If you didn't know, you're going to hear right now. And if you do know, you're going to enjoy this set. Now, this is taped live on stage in 1990. So you can see that Bob worked for me off and on for over 15 years, where he worked with Dave Coulier in one of my special New Year's shows. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy the stand-up comedy from 1990, Bob Saget.
About that. I'm just glad we're alive and we have our health. That's all that matters, and there's no earthquakes. Are you guys scared of a quake? Isn't it great? Californians are like, they don't care. It's like, oh, look, the ground's opening up. Oh, there goes my house. Oh, there go my wife and kids. My car! Oh, damn it, my Beamer. Oh, how am I going to get to work? Oh, there goes work. All right, party! Midnight oil. I'm scared there's going to be like a major quake and I'll be getting a vasectomy at the time. You know, something important, you know? It was a 7.3, but now it's a 4.1. 7.3, thank you. Comedians can embellish. I can embellish that, right. I think I can. The smartest thing, actually the stupidest thing I have is earthquake insurance, and it's based in California. The company is based in California. Well, here's your policy under this rubble. Let me know where it is. Oh, here's your agent, Barney. It's Barney Rubble, thank you. And I have a thing in my deed of sale called an easement at my home, which means I think the phone company can party at my pool whenever they want. I think that's what that means. I don't know. But I'm happy. I own a home, and our show's coming back on the air, which is nice, and everybody's twins. The baby is twins, I'm twins, Dave's twins. There's another Bob backstage in case I got sick. It's a true story. I'm having a break. What the hell is that sound? What is that sound? There's either slurping of a drink or there's some gastrointestinal problems in the room. Who was that? I just want to know. It's this woman. She's literally embarrassed to death right now, ladies and gentlemen. She's in. If she turns her head the other way, she can make her date so damn happy. Why don't you just pick her head up? Oh my God, what's happening here? She's literally crying with her head stuck on the end of the table. I've never seen this happen. Pick her head up. You're going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Just breathe deep. It's Lamaze comedy. Come on, we'll talk you through this. Come on. You were just slurping the end of a drink, and I don't think I've ever heard anything that loud in my life before. God! It's the blob! Oh! Wow, are you okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. You know you're laughing too hard tonight if milk comes out of your nose, because we don't have it here. There's no milk here. I don't know where you get it. It'd be gross. Oh, it is coming out of her nose. I'm sorry. She's got stuff coming out of her nose. It's really gross. Let me put this over here. Does this work? Is there a battery in it? Yeah, are you okay? Oh, she's crying and weeping. I haven't made a woman do that in a long time. Oh, man. I'm so damn happy. What do you want to do now? Let's strip naked and scream. What do you say? Let's go up on the roof and sing Let It Be. Come on, that'll be good. I want to do a cartwheel and fart. Want to do that? Be a fart wheel, I guess. A lot of creativity at work right here. Oh man, I'm gonna go home. My daughter's gonna do some weird. Oh, because we're traveling. We got this baby intercom. You know what this is? There's two sides. Oh, the funniest. We got two things. We got a baby mobile that's voice activated. Somebody gave us this as a gift, which means you put it in the crib, and if the baby cries or makes any kind of sound, a burp or gas, it'll trigger music. And I think this is kind of weird. What if she's like conditioned, and she's like 30 years old, and she'll go to a concert and thinks that's how you start the band, you know? Wow, this show stinks. Let's get out of here. But the funniest thing is the baby intercom. Do you have one of these, May? They're cool because you can put one part of it. They're cool, like really have them. Put part of it in the crib, and the other part you're like in another room. Maybe you're slicing and dicing with your Vegematic or something, or playing with your Mr. Microphone, or laminating your butt. But why would someone do that? I don't know. But one, I'm overdosing on my own attitude right now. I'm so obnoxious, I'm annoying me. I used to hate obnoxious people, but I like them because now I am their leader. So part of the baby intercom's in the crib, and the other part is like anywhere you want to be. So you're like in the den, and you hear, Breaker 19, Dad, I got spit up on my shirt, and I'm packing a load. Please come in and help me. You go in there, she's got her dolls up against the side of the crib, she's frisking them. Like Roderick Crawford for your kid. It's the best thing that ever happened to us. We're going to have hundreds of kids. I want an audience walking around with me all day long. I'm going to call my next kid Gandhi just to put pressure on it. Shave his head and make him womb all day. I want you to be my best friend. Because last time I had a friend, he left me and the jumper came over me on his nipples and jump-started his head. It was a true story. You know, I'd like to do something real special now. I'd like to just turn the guitar around and have a party on my own. No, I'd like to do something else. I have an Eric Clapton song. It's kind of gross, but I don't want to offend anybody. I won't do it if I offend anyone. Tell me if I'll offend you. I won't do it. Okay, but you forced me. You really did. I noticed there was women that actually asked me to do it. I'm scoring tonight. Here we go. Don't listen to this. It's an Eric Clapton song, and he knows 70 chords, and I know 7, and here's mine. She goes in the bedroom. Don't listen to this. I'm serious. And lays on the bed. Forgive me. I'm serious. And then I go in the bathroom. I'm real sorry. And she gives me. I'm very sorry. And then I asked her, do you feel alright? And she said, I'm so sorry. I really am sorry. I'm apologizing for everything. Oh, I know, I'll keep going. The sixth doctor came in. This really happened. The sixth doctor came in and I said, you know, that fifth doctor was kind of weird. He said, he's not a doctor, he fills a cigarette machine. But he was so kind, and we're still right. But it was really a horrible experience. They put me on Demerol for 4 days. You sell it or you a travel agent? Have a nice trip. How long were you on it? What's your name?
Julie.
Nice to meet you, Julie. How long were you on Demerol?
About 2 hours that I remember.
2 hours that you remember, so we're talking 4 weeks, basically. It's splice time. And was it was weird, wasn't it?
Really weird.
What was the occasion? Whoa. Yours or someone else's? This is too upsetting for me. When I get to the bottom, I go back. So was it, but it was, are you okay?
Oh, yeah.
You're fine now. They just failed, now they're fine?
No, I'm hooked on Demerol, but I'm okay.
2 hours wouldn't hook you. Just say no, Julie. Just say no. Unless it's really good, just say no. No. I'm sorry? Julie? What? We're communicating. Let's get 2 Dixie cups and a string and talk all night. Well, you're lucky that you're okay. Did both of them go or just one?
No, none of them went.
Another woman lied to me, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I can't believe that. You lied. Are you a lawyer? Holy shit, she is. I can't believe it. You really are? You want to go through my briefs and handle my subpoena? Hey! No, you really are? Oh my God. You really are? Next year you're going to be one. You're, you just sit here and nod. You're both a couple idiots, and I'm really intelligent. And I'd like to say that I miss you both, and I hope you have a good life. And I'd like to give you both a pot holder. Just turn it off. I'm too happy to be alive. Go ahead. Well, that was an attempt, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'd like to do now? Scott. Thank you for flying TWA. Your drinks can be used as a flotation device. For the next 60 seconds, in case there's any problems, honey roasted peanuts will shoot out of my nose and go right through the windows. Don't use the lavatories, we never clean them. And the men's room are a lot of fun because you can get on your knees and use the shoe buffer as a lot of fun. This is something I'd like to do right now. This was one of my favorite songs. This was a Harry Chapin song, and he was one of my favorite people. And this takes place in a taxi cab in San Francisco. And just think about that. It's a taxi cab in San Francisco. And here we go. It was raining hard in Frisco. I need one more fare to make my night. A lady up ahead waved a flag me down. She got in at the light. I said, where you going to, my lady blue? It's a shame you ruined your gown in the rain. She just looked out the window and she said, 16 Parkside Lane. Something about her was familiar. I swear I'd seen her face before. And she said, I'm sure you're mistaken. Turn around, asshole. She didn't say anything more. After a while, she looked in the mirror. She glanced at the license for my name. A smile seemed to come to her slowly. It was a sad smile, the same. And then she said, how are you, Bobby? I said, how are you? Woo! I just got back from Sweden. Had an operation. Guess they should have changed my voice too. Now my name is Sue. But I still remember Lou.
That was Bob Saget, a terrific comic and friend who helped Laughs Unlimited get going back from the early 80s and still working for me here in 1990 for the recording you just heard. And just a terrific guy and a very funny comic. I know you enjoyed that. Thanks for listening to this week's shows. Two funny guys, Tim Jones and Bob Saget. We'll be back next week with another entertaining podcast for you, so be sure to listen and share. Thanks. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC. For information on the show, merchandise, and our sponsors, or to send comments to Scott, visit our website at www.standupyourhostandmc.com. Look for more episodes soon and enjoy the world of stand-up comedy. Visit a comedy showroom near you.